Hello everybody and welcome back to Surge to Hit. So, today's video is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be doing a unit review / breakdown. This is going to be a first for us, so if you have any comments about how we did, leave it in the comments, of course. And if you like the video, drop a like, and also feel free to subscribe if you choose. Now, let's get into the unit breakdown. So, as you can see on your screen, we have the new Boba Fett that we are going to be getting with the Shadow Collective, specifically in the Upgrade Card Pack 2. This is where you can get the card itself for Boba Fett, but if you still want the model, at least the older model, you're going to want to pick up the Boba Fett expansion, which will come with the outdated card, but you'll get the model and all his unique command cards as well. So, let's start off with this new Boba Fett. So, he is part of the Shadow Collective. He is a bounty hunter. As of right now, in the Shadow Collective, and this is subject to change, he can be in the Empire, and that is it for the core 4 factions. Also, from what we've gathered, he might be able to join into the Shadow Collective itself, but we don't know the actual specifics on that quite yet. So, if any update comes to that, you'll see it in the comments down below from me. I'll throw in, by the way, he can or cannot go into the Shadow Collective. So, stay tuned for any updates on that. Now, he is 120 points. So, he is the same amount of points that he has always been. Well, or at least not always been. But in the current game, Boba Fett is 120 points, just like how he is in the updated Boba Fett card. Now, let's go into his keywords. So, he has 6 keywords. The first one being Jump 2, and then Arsenal 2, Bounty, Impervious, Sharpshooter 2, and then finally the new one is the Independent Aim 1 or Dodge 1. And we'll go through the new keyword right now, and the new keyword basically states, at the start of the activation phase, if you do not have an order token, gain 1 aim or 1 dodge token. This can be pretty good, however, you have to keep in mind on Boba Fett's command cards, when he has an order on him, that he's not going to get that free aim or that free dodge. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, let's go into his upgrade slots. He has 2 training slots, 1 comms slot, that is new, the comm slot, and then he has his 2 gear slots. Pretty good overall. Next, you can see that Boba Fett is remaining inoperative. And there's only going to be 1 model in the unit. There's only 1 Boba Fett out there. He's also a trooper with 5 health and 3 courage, and he also has a red defense die. On his surge chart, he surges to crit and surges to defense, which is pretty good. Next, his speed 3, so he can whip up and down the battlefield like most Mandalorians we see in the game currently. Now, going on to his weapon profile. For melee, he has his boot spikes, which used to be 2 red, and that's it. Now, it's 3 red, so it's a little bit better, which is nice. Next up is his integrated rockets, which, fun little sidebar, this weapon not only has been changed entirely, so its name used to be wrist rockets for only 2 black at range 2 with impact 1. But now, the new version of his range 1 to 2 weapon is called the integrated rockets. It's range 1 to 2, it has 3 black dice, it's impact 1, and, most importantly, versatile. So, Boba Fett's biggest weakness up to this point has been getting locked in melees. Now, in melee, he's a deadlier threat with his improved boot spikes, and he can make use of Arsenal 2 and use his integrated rockets to shoot out of melee. This is huge. This is really good. And finally, on his weapon profile, the one weapon that hasn't changed is Fett's EE3 carbine, which is range 1 to 3. It's 2 black dice, but this is where his Pierce 1 comes in. So, overall, looking at the card itself, Very impressive so far. I think the changes to his melee attack and his integrated rockets is amazing. I think independent aim 1 or dodge 1 is nice because it gives you the option whether choosing you want to be more offensive with the aim to help make that potential 5 black dice attack pool at range 2 a little bit better, because black dice have been known for not showing up sometimes. And then for the dodge, that's really good too, because in theory you could use situational awareness on Boba Fett, and that free dodge means he can just be like, all right, bye crit, which is pretty amazing. So overall review of the card, this is a very, very good unit card. So now for the next section, we're going to be going into what upgrades are going to be good or bad or even situational for the training slots, the comms slot, and the gear slot. Okay, now keep in mind, for the Shadow Collective, we have not had all of the cards revealed yet, so this list is subject to change. If this does change, I'll be putting it in the comments down below what I think about any newly released cards. So with that little disclaimer out of the way, we can get into his training upgrade slots. So he has 2 slots that he has access to for training, and there are plenty of training options. We're going to start with duck and cover. So duck and cover, for 2 points, gives you suppression during the applied dodge and cover step. Duck and cover, honestly, not really good. I'll rate this as a bad pick for Boba Fett. Next is endurance. If you play an aggressive Boba Fett, I would say that for endurance, it has a place because Boba could get suppression bombed pretty easily because he has really good defenses, so he hopefully won't be taking many wounds, but he could be taking a lot of suppression. So I would say endurance is situational at best. Next up is hunter. You get an aim if there is a wounded mini in the unit. Really good, especially with the bounty keyword. If you're attacking the same commander or operative unit, you get hunter. That's just amazing. It's really good. So I'd say it's really good. Next, into the fray. Into the fray is going to be bad. He already surges everything else. He doesn't need surge tokens. Next up is offensive push. I would say before this update that offensive push would be pretty good on Boba. But now, with independent aim 1 or dodge 1, I would say offensive push has been kind of reduced down to maybe more situational. Next up is Overwatch. You really shouldn't be standbying with Boba Fett. I mean, not usually. I would say it's bad, but closer to like the top of it. Like, if all the bads were ranked, it'd be closer to the top, because having a range of 1 to 3 standby range, having a range of 1 to 3 for your standby can be good because he does have the range of 1 to 3 weapon, but I would say it's overall kind of bad. Next up is Protector. Bad. He doesn't have Guardian. Doesn't do him any good. Next is Seize the Initiative. I would have said before this update that it is good. But now with the independent on there, I'd say Seize the Initiative is situational at best. Speaking of situational, we have the training upgrade, Situational Awareness. I would say this is actually good. For only 2 points, it's pretty good because you can potentially get a free dodge with independent. You know, some other combinations we can see when I go into some potential builds for Boba Fett. That Situational Awareness can get very, very good because it gets you outmaneuver so you can dodge crits. So I would say Situational Awareness is good. Next up is interesting. Tenacity. Tenacity is situational. It's not good, I wouldn't say, because there are some better training options, but it's not bad, because if Boba Fett takes a wound, which is bound to happen at some point over the match, his melee turns from 3 red to 4 red. And if you were to combo that with like a flamethrower, his melee would be 4 red plus however many minis are in the unit. That can be pretty devastating to most units. So I'd say tenacity is situational. but I think it's a really interesting choice to potentially put on Boba Fett. Next up is one of the new cards that has been previewed so far, and that is Up Close and Personal. And that reads, after you perform a ranged attack at range 1 to 2, gain 1 dodge token. I would say it is good if you're using situational awareness in Boba Fett, so you have to use them kind of together. If not, I would say it's still pretty good. That's a free dodge token every time you shoot with Boba Fett. And mind you, with his arsenal too, if he splits, from how I understand, if he splits fire, his carbine into one enemy and his integrated rocket into another enemy, since it's still one attack action, it's performed to the one range. It's still like one ranged attack, just kind of split off. He's only going to still get 1 dodge token. If I'm wrong on that, however, put it in the comments down below, because that would be interesting to see. So, overall verdict on Up Close and Personal, it is, I would say it's good, but it barely scrapes by in the good category. Yeah, it's good, but it does fall closer to situational, in my opinion. But with situational awareness combo, it can go from it's good to, man, it is good. So that is all the training upgrades we have so far. Now, up next is the comms. So just really quick, I'm gonna kind of like speed through this one, because the comms that are bad are just bad for their own reasons. So there's going to be 3 that I would say are bad. There's going to be 2 that are situational, and 1 that is pretty good. So the 3 that are bad, in my opinion, are the hacked comms unit, HQ uplink, and the long range comlink. So the reason I say each of these are bad. So the hacked comms unit gives you an order if you're at range 1 of an enemy unit that has received an order. You don't want that, because then you won't get your free aim or your free dodge. Simple enough. HQ uplink. Once again, you get an order, but that order comes at the price of you not getting that aim or dodge, which, albeit, can be useful sometimes. But I would say still overall, HQ uplink for 10 points is kind of bad, especially since you have access to 3 command cards that all give Boba Fett that much needed order if he needs it. Next up is long range comlink. This gives you, it's basically an infinite, you can be issued an order at infinite range from a friendly commander or friendly operative. Overall, I would say it's kind of bad, because once again, if you do give Boba Fett that order, you're losing out on that free token, which can be detrimental, potentially. Now into the more situational ones. I would say Comms Jammer is actually situational. The reason I say this is because it is enemy units at range 1 cannot be issued orders unless they are issuing an order to themselves. If you don't get an order, you get a token. If you deny, like a Rebel Corps, Fleet Troopers, for instance, order, they just lose an order. They don't gain anything from it. So, in that respective, it is situational if you plan on having Boba Fett as your close range type of brawler. The next one that I would say is situational, but it has very, very high potential, is actually Comms Relay. The reason I say this is because you can still play Boba Fett's 1 pip, 2 pip, or 3 pip, and you can still get an order out, but instead of it going to Boba, you can give it to someone else. So Boba Fett can get that free aim or that free dodge, which can be extremely helpful for, more survivability with the dodge or more offensive potential with the aim. So I'd say Comms Relay is situational, but leaning towards almost good. Next up is a new card. It is Emergency Transponder. Probably one of my new favorite cards that we've had shown. So it reads, when you activate, if you are activated with an order from your order pool, gain 1 aim token, gain 1 dodge token, or remove one suppression token. And this is expendable. You use it once, you're done. For 4 points for a free token, not bad, honestly. And if you're already going based off of he's going to be independent, so he gets that aim or dodge anyways, you could potentially start stacking up on the tokens. You could stack him up on 2 dodges with independent and emergency transponder, 1 aim or 1 dodge with the combination, or 2 aims, or even your aim or dodge from the independent. And if you really need to get off a suppression so you can get 2 actions, that's what you could do with the emergency transponder instead. So overall, I'd say this is a pretty good upgrade for Boba. His comms section is new, and I would say emergency transponder is probably one of the best options you can as of right now for all the cards we have revealed. Next up, we're going to go into the gear section. I'm just going to go down the list since there is a lot of them. So, ascension cables. Situational at best. If you have a lot of difficult terrain, then yeah, maybe it's good, or a lot of buildings on a map, it's good, but that's not most maps, unfortunately. So ascension cables is situational. Electro binoculars, that's just bad. You don't want to spend Boba's actions to give other units aims. Electro binoculars is bad. Emergency stims, I would say is good. I would say it's good. Environmental gear. If you can't afford ascension cables, but you really want ascension, the ability to ignore difficult terrain, then maybe environmental gear is okay. But you have to keep in mind you also have jump too, so you can ignore terrain anyways with that. So overall, I would say it leans towards bad, because ascension cables is just that, but better. And same thing with grappling hooks. I would say that's just a bad upgrade for Boba Fett. He has jump. He doesn't need to clamber or climb up anything. Portable scanner, bad for the same reasons as electro binoculars. Recon intel, solid choice if you have 2 points and you just need to fill out his gear slot. Sure, recon intel. I'd say it's good. Targeting scopes, I would say it's actually good too, because once again, sometimes your black dice don't show up, and if you're doing your 5 black dice attack pool with his integrated rockets and his carbine, sometimes you'll miss a lot. Those black dice will miss quite a bit. I've rolled 5 black dice and gotten 5 blanks before, and that extra targeting scope, that ability to reroll 1 extra die, can be very important to this, I think. So I would say targeting scopes is good. And finally, we have another previewed card. This is Prepared Supplies, and it reads Cash Dodge 1. So during setup phase, place 1 dodge token on this card. You can spend tokens on this card. Gives you a free dodge. I would say it's good. More survivability never hurt. So that is all the available options that we've had revealed to us so far for his training, comms, and gear slots. Overall, there's a lot of things that are good. There's a lot of things that are situational, but there's also a lot of things that are bad. So I'll show you now 2 different builds I have had with Boba Fett, using different cards that I rated as good or situational. So those will appear, the first one will appear on screen right now. So this first build that I have is meant to survive. Boba Fett is going to have lots of survivability, thus he's going to be able to go through and potentially tear apart core. So you can see on his upgrades for training, he has situational awareness and up close and personal. These cards combo very well together because you can gain a dodge from attacking and then you can spend that dodge on crits. Really good combo. He also has emergency transponder, another really good card to use for survivability, potentially getting a dodge or removing a suppression. Also, he has prepared supplies and emergency stims, filling out both of his gear slots. Prepared supplies gives you an extra dodge. Emergency stims gives you a temporary extra 2 health. This can be amazing, really. And next is his more anti-hero build. And now I'll show that to you right now. So here on your screen, you can see this other version of Boba Fett. He comes equipped with Hunter, so he can get free aims if he's attacking a unit with a wounded mini in it, a wounded trooper unit, I should say, which can be really good comboing with his integrated rockets and carbine. 5 black, they don't show up, I've said this a few times now. The aim's good. Also, interestingly enough, I think tenacity could be good because it's a deterrence for putting your core around Boba Fett. Because it's like, okay, cool. Wow, here's 4 red. Here's the equivalent to like a Yoda's lightsaber almost, just without the pierce. I would honestly say tenacity has a situational, but good place on Boba potentially. Thoughts on that in the comments if you choose. Next is Comms Jammer. This is just meant to deny orders, whether he's near core on his approach towards a hero, or he's near a hero that's already burnt their command cards. So Comms Jammer, I think, has a place on him to prevent those orders from going out, so that they don't get the advantage of having an order, but he gets the advantage of getting his aim or dodge. Next is Emergency Stims. I do think this is a really, really good card for Boba, and adds to his survivability, especially if he's going after Jedi or any Force users already. So, and really anyone with a high Pierce value, like Han Solo. Statistically, on Boba Fett's red die roll, he'll still take 1 wound when Han shoots him with 2 red. He'll take like roughly 1 wound anyways with the Pierce value and is impervious. So having emergency stims saves you from potentially being from a few bad rolls. It's a insurance policy almost. And next up is targeting scopes. This goes good with Hunter and your independent aim potentially, because you can just get to roll a 3rd die, which is always super helpful and potentially really, really useful. So with those 2 builds out of the way, overall thoughts on the new Boba Fett. I would say he is very good, and I honestly cannot wait to use him again, because I loved using him beforehand, but he's never seemed like he packed enough punch. Now, I think Boba Fett can potentially be one of the better characters. He's definitely out of the 3 bounty hunters. He's definitely in the top 3. But I do think for the first bounty hunter we're looking at in this series, he is very good, and he will certainly find his place in the potential meta. But as it's been said before, it's like the Wild West out there. You never know what's going to be good or not until, well, they actually bring it to a tournament of some kind. So, without further ado, tell me your thoughts about Boba Fett in the comments below. If you liked the video, drop a like. And if you feel inclined to do so and you want to stay updated on when our next unit review, battle report, list building episode, or anything we produce and make on this channel, if you want to be notified when that's going to happen, make sure you subscribe and put on the bell notification. And have a great day, y'all. And finally, peace.